Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Joseph Morris live stream. If you're new here, hello, how are you? I'm Joseph Morris. I'm joined here by my beautiful, stunning, and brave co-host, Miss Gabby. So if you want to hang out with me and Gabby and discuss some breaking news, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so you never miss a live, and do not forget to press like on my video. If you're watching this while live, there's a speculation channel right here, actually here on my screen, but it's right here for you guys. And if you want to sound off with any opinions or comments you may have, I'll be reading them throughout the live stream, as well as if you're watching this at a later date, please make sure you leave a comment down below. It really helps out my channel and keeps things interesting, and I learn a lot from you guys. So let's get into it. This is some breaking news I have right now. 2 days after the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences Board of Governors initiated self-described disciplinary proceedings against Will Smith over his slap of Chris Rock at Sunday's Oscars, the Oscar winner has preempted the harsh punishment that he could have received and left the organization on his own accord. So here is the full statement Smith provided to Deadline today. Let's get into it. Thank you so much for being here. He writes, I have directly responded to the Academy's disciplinary hearing notice, and I will fully accept any and all consequences for my conduct. My actions at the 94th Academy Awards presentation were shocking, painful, and inexcusable. The list of those I have hurt is long and includes Chris, his family, many of my dear friends and loved ones, all those in attendance, and global audiences at home. I betrayed the trust of the Academy. I deprived other nominees and winners of their opportunity to celebrate and be celebrated for their extraordinary work. I am heartbroken. I want to put the focus back on those who deserve attention for their achievements and allow the Academy to get back to the incredible work it does to support creativity and artistry in film. So I am resigning from membership in the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences and will accept any further consequences the board deems appropriate. Change takes time, and I am committed to doing the work to ensure that I never again allow violence to overtake reason. Very poetic, very nice. So on March 30th, after a sometimes contentious virtual meeting of the more than 50 governors, including the likes of Steven Spielberg, Ava DuVernay, and Rita Wilson, the King Richard star, Will Smith, was informed he had 15 days to respond in writing to their assertion that he violated the Academy's standards of conduct with his violent behavior on March 27th. The group were then scheduled to meet on April 18th to decide Smith's fate. While expulsion was on the table under the Oscar organizers' rules and taking away Smith's Oscar never was, sources close to events tell us that a long suspension and no invitation to the 95th Academy Awards was among the most likely punishment to be handed out in the end. Will Smith, facing possible expulsion or suspension after he assaulted Chris Rock during last Sunday's Oscars Telegraph, has instead resigned from the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences. The move comes as the actor is embroiled in the gravest crisis of his career and as the organization behind the Academy has struggled in its attempts to deal with the fallout from the altercation. In a statement, Smith called his actions shocking, painful, and inexcusable, and said that he will accept any additional consequence the Academy Board of Governors deems appropriate. So this is an article from Variety that goes into a little bit more detail as well. Thank you so much for being here. Please make sure you subscribe, ring the bell so you never miss a live. This is some breaking news. Will Smith has resigned from the Academy himself preemptively. So this is what he wrote. I want to put the focus back on those who deserve attention for their achievements and allow the Academy to get back to the incredible work it does to support creativity and artistry in film. Change takes time, and I'm committed to doing the work to ensure that I never again allow violence to overtake reason. Very, very interesting. He goes on to say, the list of those I've hurt is long and includes Chris, his family, many of my dear friends and loved ones, all those in attendance and global audiences at home. I betrayed the trust of the Academy. I deprived other nominees and winners of their opportunity to celebrate and be celebrated for their extraordinary work. I am heartbroken. So during the ceremony, Smith charged the stage and struck Rock during the broadcast after Rock made a joke about the actor's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, liking her shaved head to the buzz cuts sported by Demi Moore in G.I. Jane. Pinkett Smith suffers from hair loss due to alopecia. The Academy later said it asked Smith to lead the ceremony and he refused. However, sources tell Variety that the organization's leaders never formally requested he be ejected, and producer Will Packer urged him to stay. During an appearance on GMA on Friday this morning, Packer said that he said Smith should stay at the request of Rock, something Rock's camp has denied. It's a very tangled narrative about what exactly went down behind the scenes. What is certain is that Smith ended up remaining at the Dolby Theater, where he went on to win Best Actor for his performance in King Richard. In an emotional speech, Smith seemed to try to justify his actions by saying that his outburst was a result of the same protective instincts that led his character in the film, Richard Williams, to push his daughters, Venus and Serena Williams, to succeed in the world of tennis. His speech, initial failure to apologize to Rock, and his decision to attend Vanity Fair party following the awards did not sit well with some members of the Academy. On Monday, Smith finally apologized to Rock, saying he was out of control and wrong. He added that he reacted emotionally because a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for him to bear. After initially offering up a statement that said it did not condone violence, the Academy followed up with two subsequent statements that more forcefully criticized Smith. On Wednesday, the group said Smith had violated the Academy's standard of conduct and that he had 15 days to provide a written response explaining his actions. The organization said Smith faced suspension, expulsion, or other sanctions. The Academy's formal investigation and disciplinary process is still moving forward. One individual familiar with the group told Variety. So, wow, he just resigned. That is crazy. Let me check on the chats. Thank you so much for being here. 844 people here. My word, I was not expecting that. Do you guys want to see Andrew Garfield making fun of the situation? It's pretty funny. That's him.
Is that alopecia? There's no way alopecia.
Anyway, he just walks out of the Academy and starts playing around with a slap. It was pretty funny. It went viral, so I don't know. It's not all bad. Let me read your chats. Thank you so much for being here. If 896 people liked my video, I'll be very, very happy. You guys are awesome. So hi, Okami. Hi, Jeannie M. So definition of privilege. Not everyone can physically assault someone, a coworker, no less, then accept an award and go home. Treason is crazy by Ulysses S. Grant. And you know what? I agree, especially when it comes to people in Hollyweird. You know, we talk about Jussie Smollett getting out of jail. We talk about Alec Baldwin shooting somebody and getting away with it. You know, even Roman Polanski was found guilty of R-wording someone in the 70s, and then he still has his Oscars and his award. The only people who actually are removed from the Academy, from off the top of my head, are Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby. So that's a very good point. Thank you for that little tidbit. RW, when you can't take a joke, knowing you and others are going to be used as a center of jokes for entertainment probably is best. Tina, hello. So you guys are firing away all your chats, and I really enjoy reading them. Debbie Lee's and Beauty Channel. I believe this is fake. Watch come a few months from now. He will be in some new upcoming movie. And that's the thing, Debbie. That's a big conspiracy with Will Smith. You know, Chris Rock recently sold out all of his show, his world tour, and the tickets are going scalped for up to $8,000. So it could possibly be that this was all just one big conspiracy for everybody to get more money. The Oscars was sponsored by Pfizer, and then immediately after this entire event, Pfizer releases a drug for alopecia, which is what Jada Pinkett Smith suffers from. So there is some speculation still out there that all of this was just planned. So thank you for that comment. HVAC737 writes, maybe Chris and Jada had an entanglement of their own and Will wanted to embarrass Chris in front of the whole world. Maybe that's why Chris didn't press charges. And that's a really good point. NVAC, thank you for that comment, because her ex-lover, actually August, so they're in some sort of weird throuple open relationship thing going on. And there's some speculation that the reason for his outburst is actually because of problems going on at home. This is actually Jaden's friend, August, and this is what he had to say. Choose peace, trusting that life's intricate puzzles are all forming together for the greater good and mastering of the seasonally sometimes chaotic nature of your life's art piece. So this is the guy who actually dated Jada Pinkett Smith for a bit. He looks quite young. He's actually her son's best friend. And in 2017, Jada showed up to the BET Awards in 2017 with this guy, August, in front of the entire world. And that's when immediately everybody knew that he was, dating Will Smith's wife at the time. And it humiliated Will Smith. And then they squashed rumors shortly after that they were in an open relationship. But then a couple years later, in 2021, on Red Table Talks, while Will was at that table, Jada admits that they are in an open relationship in front of Will Smith. And then later on, I think in December or November, Jada talks about how Will Smith can no longer please her in the bedroom. So there's a lot of humiliation going on between Will and Jada. And speaking of the conspiracy theories that you're talking about, there's also conspiracy theory that this is I keep reading it in my chats, a humiliation ritual. So it is funny that you guys are talking about conspiracy theories because there is a bunch still going on. So Green-Eyed Lady, what does Will's resignation mean though? Only that he will no longer be able to cast votes. He will be able to be nominated and potentially win Oscars anyway. Am I right? That is a really good question. And this is breaking news. So I'm trying to figure out as much as what you guys have to, your questions as well. So if anybody knows the answer to that question, I would assume it means he can't be nominated for any sort of Oscar ever. So this is actually breaking news on TMZ, pretty crazy stuff. I'm going to read the TMZ article just because it may be a little bit repetitive, but hopefully it'll answer some questions. So Will Smith resigns from the Academy after Chris Rock slap. Will Smith has resigned from the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences after slapping Chris Rock. TMZ has confirmed. Will wrote the following to the Academy's committee. I will fully accept any and all consequences for my conduct. My actions at the 94th Academy Awards presentation were shocking, painful, and inexcusable. He goes on. The list of those I have hurt is long and includes Chris, his family, many of my dear friends and loved ones, all those in attendance and global audiences at home. I betrayed the trust of the Academy. I deprived other nominees and winners of their opportunity to celebrate and be celebrated for their extraordinary work. I am heartbroken. And there's more. I want to put the focus back on those who deserve attention for their achievements and allow the Academy to get back to the incredible work it does to support creativity and artistry in film. So I'm resigning from membership in the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences and will accept any future consequences the board deems appropriate. He concludes by saying, change takes time and I'm committed to doing the work to ensure that I never again allow violence to overtake reason. The Academy is expected to hand down its disciplinary decision in a few weeks. So no one's really answering that question. Thank you for that question. So, oh my goodness. Thank you for everybody tuning in. Someone wrote, I still think California should press charges. Connie Coltroza writes, I still think California should press charges. Also, he should call Chris to apologize, not on Twitter or anything on the internet. I think he's just trying to save his butt. Love, Gabby. Thank you so much. Hi, Mystified. This is a crazy story. This is a crazy development. Hi, Okami. So let me just run through it again since there's a lot of new people here. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you guys can just do me a favor and press like on my video, it will really help out my channel. And don't forget to subscribe. So 2 days after the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences Board of Governors initiated self-described disciplinary proceedings against Will Smith over his slap of Chris Rock at Sunday's Oscars, the Oscar winner has preempted the harsh punishment that could have received and left the organization. So it kind of makes me feel like he was too cowardly to get the hammer struck down on him. I don't know. That's my opinion. Here is the full statement Smith provided to Deadline today. He writes, I have directly responded to the Academy's disciplinary hearing notice, and I will fully accept any and all consequences for my conduct. My actions at the 94th Academy Awards presentation were shocking, painful, and inexcusable. The list of those I have hurt is long and includes Chris and his family, many of my dear friends and loved ones, all those in attendance, and global audiences at home. I betrayed the trust of the Academy. I deprived other nominees and winners of their opportunity to celebrate and be celebrated for their extraordinary work. I am heartbroken. I want to put the focus back on those who deserve attention for their achievements and allow the Academy to get back to the incredible work it does to support creativity and artistry in film. So I am resigning from membership in the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences and will accept any further consequences the board deems appropriate. Change takes time, and I am committed to doing that work to ensure that I never again allow violence to overtake reason. Wow. So he is still accepting more punishment if there is more punishment, but he preemptively withdrew himself from the Academy. So on March 30th, after a sometimes conscientious virtual meeting of the more than 50 governors, including the likes of Steven Spielberg, Ava DuVernay, and Rita Wilson, the King Richard star was informed he had 15 days to respond in writing to their assertion that he violated the Academy's standards of conduct with his violent behavior on March 27th. The group were then scheduled to meet on April 18th to decide Smith's fate. And I also believe that Whoopi Goldberg is a part of the governors as well, as I've learned through The View. And Whoopi Goldberg said that she was defending Will Smith and defending the Academy's inaction because, as she says, Will Smith is a human being and sometimes makes mistakes, and the Academy did not want to eject him because he was most likely in a manic episode. Or, you know, I like conspiracies. I kind of think maybe Will Smith is MK Ultra'd because there's a bunch of celebrities that I believe are a part of MK Ultra. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Anyway, while expulsion was on the table under the Oscar organizers' rules and taking away Smith's Oscar, never was sources close to the event tell us that a long suspension and no invitation to the 95th Academy Awards was among the most likely punishment to be handed out in the end. Will Smith, facing possible expulsion or suspension after he assaulted Chris Rock during last Sunday's Oscars telecast, has instead resigned from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. The move comes as the actor is embroiled in the gravest crisis of his career, and as the organization behind the Academy Awards has struggled in its attempts to deal with the fallout from the altercation. In a statement, Smith called his actions shocking, painful, and inexcusable, and said that he will accept any additional consequences that the Academy's Board of Governors deems appropriate. During the ceremony, Smith charged the stage and struck Rock during the broadcast after Rock made a joke about the actor's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, likening her shaved head to the buzz cut sported by Demi Moore in G.I. Jane. Pinkett Smith suffers from hair loss due to alopecia. The Academy later said it asked Smith to leave the ceremony, and he refused. That's what the Academy said. However, sources tell Variety that the organization's leaders never formally requested he be ejected, and producer Will Packer urged him to stay. During an appearance on GMA on Friday, Packer said that he said Smith should stay at the request of Rock, something Rock's camp has denied. It's a very tangled narrative about what exactly went down behind the scenes. What is certain is that Smith ended up remaining at the Dolby Theater, where he went on to win Best Actor for his performance in King Richard. In an emotional speech, Smith seemed to try to justify his actions by saying that his outburst was the result of the same protective instincts that led his character in the film, Richard Williams, to push his daughters, Venus and Serena Williams, to succeed in the world of tennis. His speech, initial failure to apologize to Rock, and his decision to attend Vanity Fair party following the awards did not sit well with some members of the Academy. On Monday, Smith finally apologized to Rock, saying that he was out of line and was wrong. He added that he reacted emotionally because a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for him to bear. After initially offering up a statement that said it did not condone violence, the Academy followed up with two subsequent statements that more forcefully criticized Smith. On Wednesday, the group said Smith had violated the Academy's standards of conduct and that he had 15 days to provide a written response explaining his actions. The organization said Smith faced suspension, expulsion, or other sanctions. The Academy's formal investigation and disciplinary process is still moving forward. One individual familiar with the group told Variety. So I have 4,000 people here. Thank you so much for everybody joining me and tuning in to this breaking news. I'm going to be reading your chats.
Hey, paparazzi! Hey! Is that alopecia? There's no way alopecia.
In case you're wondering, that's Andrew Garfield mocking the smack after it went down. So the chats are going crazy. Roberta Garcia writes loud noises. I'm sorry if that kind of shocked you. Let me just turn that off so that doesn't happen again. So yes, Kenya Green writes, he resigned. Wow, he did resign. Real Talk with Rita writes, assault and battery. Yeah, so people on the chat are saying that this is against California law, so chances are that he could be charged, but Chris Rock needs to be the one to charge him. And that's kind of the thing that always bothered me about this case was Will Packer went on GMA this morning and said the reason why he wasn't ejected and wasn't forcefully removed was because of Chris Rock's decision not to. I believe that he should have never had that power, Chris Rock, to stop Will Smith from being ejected. I think this should have been immediately handed over to the security there, but allegedly it doesn't look like they had much security because Will Smith was able to go on to the stage. So that's kind of how I feel about it. It shouldn't have come down to Chris Rock. Will Smith should have just been removed immediately after that happened. So Sugar Magnolia writes, a lady would never stolen her husband's night. I would never have urged my laughing nominated husband by acting so smug. I feel Chris Rock was class and kind. And that's the thing about Chris Rock that I really appreciate. And he's a big fan. I'm a huge fan of him now. You know, we talk about bullying, and Chris Rock was actually bullied as a teenager, and that kind of led to how he approaches bullies and confrontation. So he was bullied. He took a pillow and put a brick in it, and to his bully, he hit the bully across the face. He realized how much damage he did to his bully, that it scarred him for life, and he learned from that point on that he was never going to be confrontational to anybody that had bullied him before. So thank you so much for that comment. I really, really appreciate it. Chris Rock has disputed that statement. I see KO saying, so the reality is the Academy Awards were the ones who were caught in a lie because the Academy said Will Smith refused to leave after he was asked to, whereas Will Smith and his team are actually saying that is a total and complete lie. He was never asked to leave. In fact, the producer, Will Packer, came up to him and asked him to stay. So I see there's 5,000 people here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you can please press a like on my video, that'd be really great. I'm joined here by my beautiful co-host, Miss Gabby. If you guys like to discuss some breaking news, please make sure you subscribe, ring the bell so you never miss a live. So 2 days after the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences Board of Governors initiated self-described disciplinary proceedings against Will Smith over his slap of Chris Rock at Sunday's Oscars, the Oscar winner has preempted the harsh punishment that he could have received and left the organization on his own. So here is the full statement. He writes, I have directly responded to the Academy's disciplinary hearing notice, and I will fully accept any and all consequences for my conduct. My actions at the 94th Academy Awards presentation were shocking, painful, and inexcusable. The list of those I have hurt is long and includes Chris, his family, many of my dear friends and loved ones, all those in attendance, and global audiences at home. I betrayed the trust of the Academy. I deprived other nominees and winners of their opportunity to celebrate and be celebrated for their extraordinary work. I am heartbroken. I want to put the focus back on those who deserve attention for their achievements and allow the Academy to get back to the incredible work it does to support creativity and artistry in film. So I am resigning from membership in the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences and will accept any further consequences that the board deems appropriate. Change takes time, and I am committed to doing the work to ensure that I never again allow violence to overtake reason. So I did read an article that Will Smith actually is seeking out therapy. So maybe he's referring to that. This is the full statement Smith provided to Deadline today. On March 30th, after a times contentious virtual meeting of the more than 50 governors, including the likes of Steven Spielberg, Ava DuVernay, and Rita Wilson, the King Richard star was informed he had 15 days to respond in writing to their assertion that he violated the Academy's standards of conduct with his violent behavior on March 27th. The group were then scheduled to meet on April 18th to decide Smith's fate. While expulsion was on the table under the Oscars organizers' rules and taking away Smith's Oscar never was. Sources close to events tell us that a long suspension and no invitation to the 95th Academy Awards was among the most likely punishment to be handed out in the end. Will Smith, facing possible expulsion or suspension after he assaulted Chris Rock during last Sunday's Oscars telecast, has instead resigned from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. The move comes as the actor is embroiled in the gravest crisis of his career, and as the organization behind the Academy Awards has struggled in its attempts to deal with the fallout from the altercation. In a statement, Smith called his actions shocking, painful, and inexcusable, and said that he will accept any additional consequences that the Academy's Board of Governors deems appropriate. I want to say thank you to a super chat, new subscriber. You were awesome. Love to you and Miss Gabby from Wisconsin. Mama Lisa, thank you so much. Wow. That is amazing. Thank you for that super chat. During the ceremony, Smith charged the stage and struck Rock during the broadcast after Rock made a joke about the actor's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, likening her shaved head to the buzz cut sported by Demi Moore in G.I. Jane. Pinkett Smith suffers from hair loss due to alopecia. The Academy later said it asked Smith to leave the ceremony, and he refused. However, sources tell Variety that the organization's leaders never formally requested he be ejected, and producer Will Packer urged him to stay. During an appearance on GMA on Friday this morning, Packer said that he said Smith should stay at the request of Rock, something Rock's camp has denied. It's a very tangled narrative about what exactly went down behind the scenes. What is certain is that Smith ended up remaining at the Dolby Theater, where he went on to win Best Actor for his performance in King Richard. In an emotional speech, Smith seemed to try to justify his actions by saying that his outburst was a result of the same protection instincts that led his character in the film. Richard Williams to push his daughters, Venus and Serena Williams, to succeed in the world of tennis. His speech, initial failure to apologize to Rock, and his decision to attend the Vanity Fair party following the awards did not sit well with some members of the Academy. On Monday, Smith finally apologized to Rock. Quote, "I was out of line and I was wrong." He added that he reacted emotionally because a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for him to bear. After initially offering up a statement that said it did not condone violence, the Academy followed up with 2 subsequent statements that more forcefully criticized Smith. On Wednesday, the group said Smith had violated the Academy's standards of conduct and that he had 15 days to provide a written response explaining his actions. The organization said Smith faced suspension, expulsion, or other sanctions. The Academy's formal investigation and disciplinary process is still moving forward. One individual familiar with the group told Variety, and I did get a super chat. Thank you so much for that super chat. Wow, thank you for all you do. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. So I'm going to be reading your chats now. And there's a police car going by. Not an emergency tonight. So let me just continue reading your chats. Clay Wilson writes, I have worked in the film business for over 20 years. I'm now retired since I won't fax. I have some crazy ideas about producing content using crowdfunding and using YouTubers as case. Very interesting. Thank you for that comment. Mex Verakas writes, he hurt so many people that night. He don't need to represent any more movies again. The Academy should be ashamed they allowed an assault to happen and they did nothing. And that's the thing about the Academy too. You know, the Academy kept trying to cover their own butts throughout this by saying that we did ask Will Smith to leave. But then Will Smith and his team said, they actually asked me to stay. So who is lying? I think the Academy is lying. The Academy actually got over 66 FCC complaints for this. You know, a ton of kids are seeing Will Smith, their idol, use violence as the answer. So a lot of people were very upset about that. So I think Will Smith realizes that, and he has since decided to resign and not face any sort of disciplinary action from the Academy and did a preemptive attack. Chris Rock was bullied and now he has become the bully. Let's be honest, he uses his jokes to bully. Cole Gates, the mathematician, writes, very interesting, Cole Gates. Speaking of Chris Rock, he's on tour right now, and tonight a video of somebody actually getting arrested at Chris Rock. So if you're at the Chris Rock concert and you decide to start heckling Chris Rock about the incident, he will arrest you. And thank you for reminding me about that. So let me show you the clip right here. Thank you so much for joining me. Please make sure you subscribe, ring the bell so you never miss a live.
I will mention he was disturbed a few minutes later by an altercation in the audience. I want to show you that video here of that audience member being taken out by Boston police outside. Now, Rock did address it multiple times. He had to. Even his bodyguard came out at one point having to address that as well. But as for any of those onstage comments about that incident, that was pretty much it for that. But I will say the fan reaction, pretty positive overall.
It certainly was, Jessica.
So that is what happens if you start heckling Chris Rock at your at the stand-up routine, you will get removed. Apparently, this guy was arrested and pepper sprayed. So it's very interesting. Thank you for that comment.
You can become one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. Squeaky clean image. Women love you around the world, and this is what's going on in your house. Your wife is in love with a dead man. Dear Tupac, I know you are alive someplace. I think my mommy really misses you. Can you please come back? Can you come back so me and my mommy can be happy? I wish you were here. I really do. Tupac got killed in what, 95, 96? Willow never met Tupac. Why is this little girl writing a letter to Tupac? Why is Will Smith's daughter writing a letter to Tupac? What is being said in that house to get this little girl not writing Santa Claus, not writing the Easter Bunny, writing Tupac?
Yeah, so I saw some memes very early on that Jada Pinkett Smith had something to do with Tupac, like Tupac. And the meme was, well, Tupac would have shot him, making the joke about how Will Smith only slapped him. So thank you for that super chat from Mama Lisa. This is for Gabby from Wally the Golden Doodle. Thank you, Mama Lisa. That is awesome. I love that. So people are wondering about Jada Pinkett Smith. This is Jada Pinkett Smith out on Willow Smith pictured out amid father Will Smith's Oscars slap controversy as she enjoys date with beau Dwayne in Malibu. Willow Smith was pictured out with her rumored boyfriend, singer Dwayne, on Thursday in Malibu, California, as her father, Will Smith, continues to face scrutiny for slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars. The 21-year-old singer wore a hoodie and looked relatively upbeat as she enjoyed a date with Dwayne, 26, who has seen puffing a vape. Her father, Will, is still dealing with the fallout of assaulting Chris live on stage in a foul-mouthed attack with the comedian made light of Jada Pinkett Smith's bald head, comparing her to G.I. Jane. So that's Willow Smith. Since we're on the topic of the Smiths, you know, she looks an awfully lot like Will Smith. Like, I would think this was Will Smith. I don't know how you guys feel. This is Willow Smith just out in Malibu with Dwayne. The singer was first pictured after the event with her father as they celebrated his win for Best Actor at the Vanity Fair Oscars party. So yeah, they were seen partying up and everything. I did get another super chat. Wow, thank you so much. Heaven sent and heaven hellbent. Thank you so much for that. So yeah, people are having a lot of backlash with Will Smith partying at the after events. So let's play a clip of that. I think I have it. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me and Gabby as we discuss some breaking news and hang out together. Thank you so much. So this is one of actually Will Smith slapping a reporter. He was apparently a Ukrainian reporter.
Oh my God. Man, what the hell is your problem, buddy? All right. Hey, sorry. You said kiss me in my mouth. You joking? You lucky I ain't sucker punching. Oh, sorry. I said that on camera.
Yeah, so it's very disturbing to realize he has kind of a history of this. There's also one of him staring down somebody for looking at his wife too much. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. Please make sure you subscribe, ring the bell so you never miss a live. So I'm going to be reading some of your chats right now, actually. Will Smith will not be caught hanging from a tree, but the doorknob in the bathroom is the standard these days. Tron Master writes, Cool Slide writes, fake slap in the face is not real. So people are still thinking it's not real. So I don't know about you guys, but I think this is pretty real right now. So 2 days after the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences Board of Governors initiated self-described disciplinary procedures against Will Smith over his slap of Chris Rock at Sunday Oscars, the Oscar winner has preempted the harsh punishment that he could have received and left the organization on his own. So that's a breaking news.
Oh my God.
And I'm going to be reading your chats. No apology for going to the after party and having a fabulous time like nothing happened, Molly writes. Real Morgan, Will Smith will be fine. He has money and several movies coming out soon. He doesn't need the Academy. If somebody tried to kiss me, I'd slap them too, someone wrote. That is pretty funny. So let me just continue. Andrew Garfield, Will Smith. Here's Will Smith dancing at the after party. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. That's after he assaulted somebody. He was seen out there partying. You also have the ability for him after everything that went down. He received a standing ovation. Pretty wild stuff, if you ask me. And thank you for that comment. So in Hollywood, Will Smith will be blacklisted, which means no movie house will work with him again, Bad Seed writes. Exactly. I wonder if that's going to happen. I wonder if this is going to be good for his career or bad for his career. Will he start getting Hollywood deals? You know, because we talk about Jussie Smollett on my channel sometimes too. Alec Baldwin, they're still out and about and free. So Will Smith, I wonder if he'll ever get any sort of consequences from this. Very interesting question. All the money he has not buying him what he wants, apparently PSW 47. And that's including a loving and stable wife who isn't in a open relationship. So not to make a dig, but he just doesn't seem too happy. And a lot of people have been calling that out. German Shepherd dog lover. Why are they to protect the black man that committed the offense over the black man that was the victim? Exactly. I only think there's one victim in this scenario, and that is Chris Rock. Chris Rock, I applaud you for remaining your composure and keeping professional and immediately keeping on with the show and not getting too rattled and even joking about it otherwise. I think the way he handled it was incredible. And so that's one good thing that comes out of it. Michael Fedehansi writes, nobody is watching his movies anytime soon. Kanani Miranda writes, is this real or April Fools? That's a very good question. It's very real. And, you know, hopefully it does end up being April Fools because this is tragic all the way around. This is actually from TMZ, is a really recent article. And TMZ writes they have confirmed it. Will Smith has resigned from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences after slapping Chris Rock. Will wrote the following to the Academy's disciplinary committee, and he is confirming that he has preemptively withdrew from the Academy. So the Academy is still handing down disciplinary decisions in a few weeks. So it's very, very much real. Pretty crazy stuff. He's hardly protected family. He's exposed it to mockery. Mr. Showbore writes, is Will Smith a fake Scientologist? Tia Yvette, I'm glad he had resigned. That is a start. He is accepting all responsibility from the Academy. Look, I can't say his career is over because everyone makes mistakes and can change and learn from it. And that's exactly what Whoopi Goldberg said too. She said he's not perfect at all. So good point. Thank you so much for that, for all the chats. So pretty crazy breaking news we have right here. And let's watch some more videos from my archive because I have been collecting a lot of videos over this. This is Jada actually talking about her hair and saying that she loves being bald.
I've had some definite hair regrets, for sure, specifically on covers where just, what the hell?
Being a black woman and dealing with hair in Hollywood, especially in the era that I came up in, having your hair look as European as possible was always the thing. And that was really challenging, you know, because I liked my hair out wild and curly, but nobody wanted that. So I always had to do my hair in ways that didn't feel natural to me because I'm trying to play the game. So if I'm doing a cover, everybody, no, we want your hair straight and flowy. And it's like, all right, cool, but that's not really like what my hair likes to do. So I had to learn to get the courage to just go, nah, I'm not doing that. Which is why I feel the freedom today. I don't give two craps what people feel about this bald head of mine, because guess what? I love it.
Thank you so much for the super chat, Jeannie M. Jada and Will open up a school based on Scientology, the only school their children went to. I learned today that they have a very different parenting style. Maybe you can look at this. That is a great idea. Thank you, Jeannie M. I will definitely look at that. Thesis Michelle Torres writes, especially since a lot of people still think he is cute. It was gross, not a good look, not what a real man does. And Cynthia OJB writes, Will's toxic marriage combined with Chris Rock's habit of mocking Jada. This is what led to this. Exactly. So I don't think it was about alopecia or Jada being bald at all, because Jada actually really loves her bald head. Robert Smith, thank you so much for that super chat. Nobody should be glad he resigned. He did it so he wouldn't face any kind of consequences that was going to come. Just selfish preservation. Yeah, it reminds me of those moments where, you know, someone's going to get fired and the person's like, you can't fire me, I quit. That's what it feels like to me. Pretty crazy. Thank you so much for being here. Please make sure you subscribe so you never miss a live. And this is Will Smith teaching a young kid how to slap. And this video is kind of weird because it made me realize it's sort of foreshadowing what happened, because this is something that's always really bothered me about the Will Smith slap. There's only one angle of the slap. There's only that one angle. You don't see the side of it. You don't see the left-hand side. You just see it from one angle. So it could very well have been a fake slap, and they planned it, all the angles, so that no one can actually see that he didn't actually slap him on the face. And this is a weird video because it's kind of foreshadowing Will Smith practicing a fake slap on a kid. Let's get into it. This is from November.
Hey, come on, out, come on. All right. All right, so here, I'm gonna do something. Basically, what I'm gonna do that, right? And you just turn your head when I go. All right, and don't fall down the steps. Call my instinct kicked in. Thank you, Angelo. Thank you. So, I'll just go. There you go.
It's pretty weird that it foreshadowed. Thank you so much for that super chat, Phoenix Black. She writes, he let his emotions get the best of him. Hopefully he learns from this. I hate that it had to happen on a night where diversity was to be celebrated. Not a good culture. Phoenix Black writes. Exactly. So we talk about the FCC complaints done by the Will Smith slap. And one of the complaints was pretty troubling, considering this one child actually asked if all black men are violent. And this Oscar was all a black produced Oscar event. So everybody who put the Oscars together were black. And so it is kind of unfortunate that this is a bad portrayal of what went down. It could have been such an amazing night of diversity, but instead it all fell apart. So this one, violent. So this one complaint says, during the 2022 Oscars, my kids saw Will Smith commit an act of violence on Chris Rock. It was a very uncomfortable conversation the next morning, and I was asked if black men are always violent. So thank you so much for that super chat, Phoenix Black. You bring up a good point. It is such a missed opportunity. So this is an interesting complaint too. I was so offended and triggered to see Will Smith violently assault Chris Rock on a live family program like the Oscars. If you're going to air this and allow ABC and Will Smith to not be held accountable, they need to pay fines for this emotionally disturbing occurrence to the FCC and also all of the viewers who saw this seriously traumatic event happen live before our eyes. You go after Janet Jackson when Justin Timberlake ripped off her clothes and basically assaulted her on live TV as well. And she was the victim in that case. I want a response and what the FCC is going to do about it. The physical violence was not edited out, and I could fully see what Will Smith was viciously yelling to Chris Rock. This whole episode has me so shaken and ruined the Oscars and the very deserving winners due to your allowing this malicious activity on public airways. If you're going to allow it, if you need to pay the price and also go after ABC and Will Smith for the monetary damages that now must be paid. So thank you for that super chat. So let me just, Claire Daly writes, why should Will Smith get to throw a tantrum, assault a man in public, and walk free? And that's the thing, you know, there's a huge joke out there about Alec Baldwin. Thank goodness they didn't make a joke about Hilaria Baldwin, his wife, because Alec Baldwin would have shot Chris Rock. You know, it's just like endless the amount of people who actually get away with crimes. We talk about Ghislaine Maxwell, who's Epstein's co-conspirator, found guilty. She's actually not being given a new trial today. She is going to be convicted and sentenced in June. But the weird thing about her trial is she actually apparently didn't traffic the children to anybody. So how is it that you're convicted of child trafficking, but you're not having anybody name names and sentence those people who they were trafficked to? And that's because a lot of these people are high-ranking officials. You know, Prince Andrew pretty much had a settlement and now his hands are clean. He's still in the royal family after he was found pretty much guilty. So it is kind of weird. We talk about Alec Baldwin, Jussie Smollett, who's out of jail. These people are above the law. So it is kind of very unsettling to see that we're witnessing in real time Will Smith pretty much get away with a crime and walk free. So thank you so much for that chat. Really, really makes you think, doesn't it, about how people are really above the law if they are able to pay their way out of it. So very interesting. Because I guarantee if you or I were to walk up on stage and slap Chris Rock, we would immediately be dragged out of the Oscars and kicked out on the sidewalk. So it is pretty crazy to see this all unfold on our eyes in front of millions of people. And I really hope Chris Rock does end up suing Will Smith and never having to work again, even though I think Chris Rock actually loves what he does. So thank you for that. Bad Seed, alopecia means your hair follicles are dead. How does Jada have a 5 o'clock shadow on her alopecia head? Very good question. Moosey writes, Willow better keep her boyfriend away from her mother. That is hilarious. I was actually reading an article today about how this woman had a daughter who couldn't give birth, who couldn't conceive, and her mother was the surrogate for her daughter. So her mother was having her own grandchild, which is pretty crazy. Jersey F. I didn't like Will's son for that little smart mouth comment he did. Also, Will and Jada's video on his page mocking this whole thing is sick. Then he bows out before he gets embarrassed, unlike Chris. Very, very crazy. They would have been okay if they just changed the name from the Oscars to the Source Awards. Anthony Gilbert writes, Enoch Music. Now, everybody knows that Jada is bald and that she has a boyfriend. I think it was revenge. Wow. Because Enoch, that's a really good conspiracy because I didn't know anything about Jada's open relationship until I started doing this story and started researching it. So thank you so much for that comment. That's a really interesting conspiracy. Jeanette Smith writes, I actually just lost your chat. Jeanette Smith. I have lost all respect for Will and Jada and gained tons of respect for Chris. And I would have to agree. I didn't even know really who you know, everything about Chris's story, everything that he has gone through until I started doing this story. And honestly, it really made me have a lot of respect for him. So thank you so much for that comment. So yeah, Jero Para writes, they can sleep with whomever they want. So Will has a memoir called Will. And in that memoir, he talks about how his father was an abusive alcoholic. And he used to witness his mother getting beat up by his alcoholic father all the time. And in those moments, he actually really wished that he could step in, and he regrets it because he felt he was a coward. So people are drawing the conclusion and putting two to two together that this is him not being a coward anymore when his wife is getting abused. So it is this kind of weird intergenerational trauma that he could potentially be experiencing, and, you know, kind of leads to more issues that Will may have. And also in Will's memoir, it also talks about how him and Jada are allowed to love with freedom. And that's kind of cryptic messaging. So people are pretty much saying that maybe Will is indeed in an open relationship, and that's him admitting it in his memoir. But we all know from Red Table Talks, which is Jada Pinkett Smith's Facebook live stream show, that they did admit that they are in an open relationship. So if this is how open relationships are, I'm not really into it because it looks like it's very stressful on both their parts. So how many young men are in prison for the same or less? The Norway writes. Exactly. Tanya Pearson, this is an additional reason why I'm upset, disturbed, and embarrassed by Will's action. Now his every move in the past is questionable, hence the child slap video. Exactly. So if you go against Will Smith, they immediately start dragging your name through the mud. So Zoe Kravitz went against Will Smith, and then immediately everybody dug up all this information on Zoe Kravitz and how at one time she was 24 and she was talking very disturbingly about a 14-year-old, none other than Jaden Smith. Because at one time, Zoe and Jaden were like dating each other, even though she was much older. And people basically dragged Zoe Kravitz through the mud over speaking out about how she felt about Will Smith, how she condemned it. And overnight on the internet, she went from the media darling, everybody loved her, to everybody hating her. And we saw the same thing happen with Jim Carrey today, where people dug up his past. So it's kind of like the mob is attacking people who go against this sort of stuff. So thank you for that comment. You know, speaking out about Will Smith, there's people who are diehard fans of Will Smith. So let me just keep reading your comments. I saw someone write about Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew, such a stud among juveniles, and Renucci writes. So that's funny. Sherry writes, I hope Chris can see this for what it is. Will has serious marital issues. I hope Chris can take Will's sincere apology. It just hurts to see this happen. Yeah, it really does. It's really bad to... I wonder if Chris and Will were friends before this. JL Kellen writes, it's insane that this crime happened on TV and no one did anything about it at the time. The criminal sat in the audience and received an award. Sick, sick, sick. Yeah, JL Kellen, you bring up a really good point about this. You know, I don't know about you, but I'm so used to seeing award ceremonies. And how's Gabby doing? So used to seeing award ceremonies. And the moment you walk into an award ceremony, you see a bunch of virtue signaling, like, I stand with Ukraine, you know, people wearing Ukraine flags, you know, LGBT, don't say gay, Florida bill, all this virtue signaling about how great these people are. And then you get people on the Oscars being so backwards and awful by applauding somebody who just assaulted somebody on stage. And I think that for me was the biggest hypocritical moment of Hollywood ever, because what's also problematic about that is Jada laughed as well after the event happened. After Will Smith went on stage and clocked Chris, she laughed. So I understand why everybody else in the audience laughed, because maybe they thought it was a part of the skit. We saw Will Packer saying the same thing. Hey, I thought it was a part of the skit too, and people were laughing. But Jada knew it wasn't a part of the skit. Jada knew that it was him acting out in violence, and she still laughed. So I take issue with that. I think Jada needs to be looked at a little bit closer too, and hopefully she issues some sort of statement that is other than just the Instagram posts about healing. She needs to really own up to her being called out as a bully in those moments. So I don't know how you guys feel about that, but let me just read your super chat. Phoenix Black, Jada has always had short hair. How is this an insult? Look up A Different World 90s sitcom, a spinoff from the Cosby Show. I mean, really. Exactly. So I want to say this about Jada. She is a very beautiful woman, and she can pull off a bald head really, really well. And, G.I. Jane was a beautiful bald Demi Moore. And so I didn't really find the joke to be that bad. Even with Ricky Gervais in the Oscars, he did his own roast, and it was much worse. It was all about them being predators and all these different things, and it was just completely awful. But then you have Chris Rock making this sort of joke, and I get how it's bad, but Chris Rock actually said that he didn't know she suffered from alopecia. She thought it was just her making a statement. You also have Willow Smith rocking a really great bald look as well. So it is kind of, a great look for her. She looks awesome, and thank you for that comment. And I see why she can pull it off and why she would have that hairstyle previously. So I'm going to be reading Mystified. Jada is beautiful with or without hair. Exactly. So T Strickland, Jada only true to herself. Otherwise she wouldn't have chucked him on podcast. Very interesting. I will have to look into that podcast. Michelle Furman, I can't believe they gave Will a standing ovation. So Billy Kidman writes, Halle Berry is better than Jade. Josie B, Jada's bad hair weave glue gave Jada alopecia. So I've heard conspiracies as well that Jada doesn't even have alopecia. So I'd be very interested to know if you guys would think that maybe she was faking it, but I don't know how to feel about that. I'm not going to go as far as to say that, but that is kind of an interesting speculation I see popping up in the chat that maybe her hair is actually due to it falling out from not other causes other than alopecia. Very, very interesting. Will Smith was in a lose-lose situation, Megan Oxley writes. Exactly. I kind of feel bad for Will Smith. You can tell there's a lot of pent-up anger with him, and I'm sure he didn't want to act out this way either, but I would actually suggest Will Smith to definitely let the healing begin, as Jada says, because I don't think violence is ever the answer. So just to do that on the world stage when everybody's watching also really says a lot as well. Jada was also bald on Set It Off movie. So very interesting. I'm going to have to look into...
Come on out. All right.
Specifically on.
All right, so here. So I'm going to do something. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that, right? And you just turn your head when I go. All right? And don't fall down the steps. Common instinct kicked in. Thank you, Angelo. Thank you. So, what is, I'll just go. There you go. And then you just put it in the scene. And you say, man, where's my money?
Okay, so I did find some images of Jada being bald back in the 90s. Jada Pinkett Smith, blonde, March 2019. So very interesting that at one time she was actually bald before her alopecia diagnosis. So very, very interesting. Wow. So I don't know what to believe. Thank you for that comment. Search Will Smith, alopecia, Arsenal Hall on YouTube. He's made the same joke before. Will Smith, alopecia, Arsenal Hall. So is that the one where he's talking about you have to wax your head every day? Yeah. So he made that same exact joke.
All right. All right, so
Oh,
here-
man.
so-
Let me just try to pull that up. Thank you so much for that super chat.
In this world, man, you can't do that in this world, man. Arsenio, they got rules. They got rules. Like, he has a rule. The bass player, he got a rule. He got to wax his head every morning. That's a rule. He follows the rules, man. He follows the rules. Oh, these are jokes. Come on. See, you got too into the characters and got hurt. Wait. Oh, we got to take commercial? How about the interview? We didn't do no interview. We just were being silly. Okay, we'll come back and we'll act like adults. Yeah, because my mom told me she wants me to do a good, proper interview. So we'll be right back. We'll be right back with his mom.
So yeah, it's just funny in that clip. He talks about someone making fun of someone because they're bald. And then he goes, it's a joke, laugh it off. But the thing, thank you for that and all that jazz. Really appreciate that. That's an awesome video and proves a really good point about this entire situation. Really appreciate that, all that jazz. So Jeannie M, what if Jada and Chris had an affair and G.I. Jane was his pet name for her and that set Will off? I love the speculation, Jeannie M. You never know. Maybe that's their safe word. It's pretty crazy. Maybe that's what they role play as. Who knows? Hello, Carrie Ann, member for 3 months. You have a dog. Thank you so much. I do have a membership, by the way. Amberly Butterfly Beauty Studio writes, why be mad at Will though? Donald Trump started fights at the White House. Exactly. No one's perfect. Jero Pero, I would have slapped him saying that to me. LOL. Exactly. You know what? I get made fun of almost weekly for being bald, so it doesn't bother me. Joanne Haim, but I can understand how if a black woman were to be made fun of for that, it'd be completely different, you know? So Joanne Helm writes, J. Peets, so then you're a doctor. You don't know. You're just assuming. You guys are being really funny. Thank you, Karen Lee, for plugging my link. Anya Zendanya Joy. Didn't Chris Rock cheat with other women, though? I don't know too much about Chris Rock cheating with other women. That's interesting. I have to look into that. Thank you for that. I will look into that. I'll look into the Scientology of Chris Rock, and I will look into Will Smith possibly having his own scandal. In my last live stream, someone told me that he was gay and dating Dwayne. But I don't know if that's true. I don't want to spread rumors, but that's what the other person told me. And I didn't get a chance to research that. So Jersey F writes, no matter what, Chris should get justice. He can't really speak up on this. Sadly, without being attacked again by fans, celeb buddies, etc. Everyone witnessed violence. The district should file charges. Jersey F writes. Exactly. So it's completely illegal in California to slap somebody. Mr. Brim 9763 writes, Alex Baldwin killed a woman, which is a crime, and no one did anything about him committing murder and should be charged with manslaughter. Why was Alec Baldwin even pointing a gun at a photographer? Very interesting. So Brooklyn writes, so if bald is the choice, so why be so sensitive? You would own it. And that's the thing, you know, that's what's really inspiring about Jada is she is owning it. She's not choosing to wear wigs. So, you know, she does a really good job at that. Lori Bradley writes, you look amazing bald, Joseph. Love from Wisconsin. Thank you so much. Daniel Farmer writes, yup, I'm in Boston. Went last night. He's so cute. That's awesome. Billy Kidman writes, I'm going bald. Mr. Schober was in county jail during the Oscars. I only saw the slap later. Honestly, when I saw this slap, I know exactly where I was. I was in bed. I I actually didn't even do a video on the original slap because it was Sunday night and I was having a good sleep. And then Monday morning, I was right off to work. So I saw this all go down on my phone. I was like, I should be on YouTube right now covering this, but I had to work and sleep. And Robert Ward writes, Will Smith just resigned from the Academy. Do you think this is a you can't fire me, I quit situation? Or do you think this is Will sincerely trying to take responsibility for his actions? Let me actually ask the audience. Do you think Will Smith resigning is him taking responsibility? Ask your community. That may be a bit of a hard question to answer, but it is a really good question. Is he just trying to get ahead of the curve by not being humiliated, or is he actually trying to take responsibility? Thank you, J.L. Kellen, for your super chat. Really appreciate the sticker. It's a person dancing. So overwhelmingly, 71% says no. And I would have to agree. I think Will Smith is just resigning for the you can't fire me, I quit before he has to be humiliated in front of everybody. So that's hilarious. It is going down a bit, but overwhelmingly, it seems that he's actually just doing this to avoid any sort of humiliation. The Norway, my son had alopecia. Let me just read this. My son has alopecia, and it was super hard for my son, and he was super shy about it. And if it gets to the point where you need to shave your head, your eyebrow hair falls out too. And I'll be honest, I'm not too familiar with alopecia, but I understand it's actually a painful thing too. I could be wrong, but apparently people go through a lot of pain, like physically from alopecia, which is very interesting. Anonymous writes, Jada looks good with a baldy. And I agree. Jada just has that face, you know? She looks good no matter what she wears, but she just has like a really amazing face. So it's nice. Punishment's too harsh. Just my opinion. Most people don't care anymore about Academy Awards. Years of unfairness. Thank you, Carrie Ann. That's a really good point. And that's immediately what I thought when I saw the slap, that this was all planned because the Oscars ratings were super low. And in fact, even with the increased Oscar viewership this year, I believe it was still the second lowest year of ratings behind last year. So they were kind of desperate. And who knows what's going to happen next year at next year's Oscars? Is the Oscars going to go up because of this viral moment? Who knows? Very interesting. Thank you for that comment. True crime with the psychic goddess. Is that OBS? LOL, nice. It is OBS. It is OBS, yes. I have the other one called Streamlabs, but I don't like it as much because you can't actually control the videos being played as well. So this is Open Broadcast Studio, yes. Thank you for that comment. You know what you're talking about. I appreciate that. Decoy Madness writes, Jada sleeping with all her children's friends. That was funny. Melly writes, if he was really sorry, he wouldn't have taken an entire week to have his lawyers draft this heartbreak for sympathy. He would have returned his Oscar and accept anger classes instead of jail. That is very interesting. You know, I didn't even think of that. His lawyer actually drafting this response. And that is a very good point, actually. He probably definitely did consult his lawyers. Frank Mills, Will just made Chris more famous. Joe, look up Chris live in Boston. He sold out in minutes. Yeah, exactly. And the Chris live in Boston, there's people who are actually disappointed about how Chris Rock isn't talking about the Will Smith case at all. And there's actually people who are protesting outside his Boston show, and they're like religious groups, and they're saying, we are against violence. And there's also people heckling Chris Rock with Will Smith while he's performing. And Chris Rock actually gets them ejected. And one of them actually got arrested. I'll play the clip again.
In this world, man, you can't do that in this world, man.
So let me just. So this is the guy heckling Chris Rock. And he ended up getting arrested.
A few minutes later by an altercation in the audience. I want to show you that video here of that audience member being taken out by Boston police outside. Now, Rock did address it multiple times. He had to. Even his bodyguard came out at one point having to address that as well. But as for any of those onstage comments about that incident, that was pretty much it for that. But I will say the fan reaction, pretty positive overall.
It certainly was, Jessica.
Yeah, so Chris Rock, I saw someone in the chat say that Chris Rock is a bully, which I think is crazy that people would say that. But it is kind of weird that he's actually ejecting people who are heckling him from his show, and he is getting them arrested. So it is kind of an interesting comment that someone called Chris Rock the bully, because, you know, I kind of think more so Jada is the bully, because she's actually the one who was laughing during it. So let me just try to find that clip. Laugh. Oh, well, can't find it. Let's watch another clip. People, you know, Jada Hair, Jim Carrey, what did Joe Rogan have to say? I don't know. Does anybody care? So here, this is it. I found the clip. So this is another angle. And you can see Jada laughing. And someone actually calls Jada the puppet master, which is funny.
So we are here to give a documentary.
So yeah, if you don't see it, the beginning of the clip actually starts with Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, and immediately Jada's laughing, which is so like disturbing. She's laughing. Her head falls back. She's laughing. That's crazy. I was shocked when I saw this. It really made me think of Jada Pinkett Smith a lot differently. Wow. I just remember Lupita in the background, just in so much shock. Yeah. That made me think of Jada a lot differently for sure. Albert Gibson writes, if I was Will, I'd give Chris the trophy, then step down. Love your shows, Chris Rock. And I love the nominated. You totally knocked it out of the ball field. Thank you, Mr. Chris Rock. Mel Arsenal writes, tomorrow Will Smith posts April Fools. Oh my goodness. If he did that, that'd be so hilarious. If this is all a April Fools. Truth Seeker 123 writes, Jada looks like Hellraiser or a slithery snake. And that's the truth. That's the truth. It seems like Jada is the one kind of pulling Will Smith's strings a little bit here and the one kind of controlling Will Smith. So that's funny that you said it. Proud to be a simp. Great name. Pfizer sponsored the Oscars. They have a new alopecia drug that just came out this month. This could be the reason for the staged event. Yeah, I thought that was really weird that the jab, the vaccination people were the ones who sponsored it. And then immediately after the alopecia came out, they approved a drug for alopecia. So, you know, the vax probably made a ton of money by treating COVID, and now they have billions and billions and billions of dollars to spend, and they probably bought out Will Smith to promote their drug in a very intense intelligent marketing way, because now everybody knows about alopecia. Now everybody knows about Pfizer. Like, crazy. If someone actually did that, that would be the most insane story of the year, like, ever. It would be iconic. Yug Nephi writes, Will Smith is very offensive. What he did to Chris wasn't the first time he has assaulted somebody. Yeah, so there's that clip of the Ukrainian reporter getting slapped. And there's also this really creepy one about Will staring down a wife when this guy was talking about his wife. Let me play this clip, because there is some speculation that Will Smith is kind of a problematic figure. So thank you so much for that chat. I love reading your chats, guys.
Creo, si me permites un consejo, que deberías de hacerle muchísimo caso a tus padres. No te lo tomes en serio. Gracias. Gracias.
Ya, Pablo. También, cuidado con las palabras para mi esposa, ¿está bien?
Jada, no me extraña que tengas tanto éxito en Hollywood. ¿Okay?
Muy bien, muy bien.
Eres una de las mejores actrices del mundo. Esto no es algo que descubra yo, pero además eres...
Cuidado.
Eres tan bonita por dentro que se me ha olvidado lo bonita que eres por fuera.
Yeah, so people are just kind of seeing Will Smith a bit differently. So in this clip, you can see him kind of stare down the guy. And, you know, people kind of took it as a joke, right? But then after knowing what we know now, this looks pretty like an intense sort of clip. You know, it looks like he could very well have taken it a little bit further, like he did with Chris Rock. I mean, his eyes look pretty serious here, unless he's like a really good actor, but that's crazy. You know, and that's him again doing the whole thing. You know, Pablo, stop. Yeah, there. Like, that is very intense sort of look to be giving somebody. And it honestly kind of scares me a bit, knowing what we know now. And you can kind of tell everybody's just a little bit uncomfortable with this as well. Everybody's just kind of laughing it off. But honestly, that was a little scary. And then, of course, someone brought up the Ukrainian getting slapped. And of course, we have to play that, because this isn't the first time this has happened with Will Smith. He has sort of this past where he does actually use his hands. So
Come on, man. What the hell is your problem, buddy? All right. Hey, sorry. You just kissed me in my mouth. You joking? You lucky I ain't sucker punching. Oh, sorry. I said that on camera.
he's lucky I don't sucker punch him. You know, I feel like if somebody were to intervene then and said, Chris, you need to get some help for, Will, you need to get some help for your tendency for violence, none of this would have happened. So, you know, I think people need to start realizing what happened. So Mary writes, did Jada be using skin bleaching? Because many of them in Hollywood be skin bleaching in Hollywood. It's a very known procedure, Mary asks. So if anybody has a answer to Mary, please let Mary know if Jada is skin bleaching. Hell's Win, I don't want to downplay what happened, but don't the perpetrators deserve some empathy as well? Imagine being in their place. Hell's Win writes. And that's it. That's been the hardest thing for me, is realizing, you know, I'm not Jada Pinkett Smith, so I can only see from my perspective. So it is interesting. I would like to know how she felt in that moment and how angry Will Smith was, because you can tell he was very angry. Deborah Barker writes, Jada rolled her eyes at the joke, then laughed at the slap. She's a narcissist. Exactly. So that's what kind of turned my opinion about it. Will Smith was actually laughing and finding it funny himself. So it wasn't until she rolled her eyes that, you know, Will Smith changed his tune. Queen Gerst writes, man, y'all goofy. Will honored his wife no matter what she did. That's still his wife. He has a right to protect his wife. Yes, he could have done it a different way or at a different time. Exactly. So thank you for that comment. You know, it was in the moment. I'm sure it was a very emotionally charged thing. And I do believe that Will Smith is very, very sorry. But what I would have liked to seen is Will Smith take the award speech as an opportunity to educate people about alopecia and how you shouldn't make fun of people with alopecia. And to me, that would have been like the biggest like redemption arc. It's such a moment, but instead it was such a missed opportunity. Thank you for that comment. Enoch Music writes, by verbal abuse, you guys mean Will screaming at Chris. Adrian Martin right. Alopecia comes out in round spaces, not a straight line like a lace front rig, because I have it. Keith writes, I mean, he is a good actor. And that's a really good point about this entire thing. These are actors, right? These are actors. So they could very well have pulled this entire thing off and fooled the entire world. And like, again, I'm waiting for Will Smith to say, this was an April Fool's joke. So thank you for that comment. Carolyn Marion writes, if you go back a little farther on the clip, there's one moment where he turns and does look like Jack Nicholson from The Shining. LOL. That's hilarious, Carolyn. I'm going to have to look at that clip. It's really weird because if I play the slapping clip, Oscars will actually take my video down. So I'll be looking on that at a later date. Thank you so much. J.L. Kellen writes, male toxic behavior. And that's a really good point. You know, when Will Smith did a speech for the best actor, you know, he talked about how a man is supposed to be a protector. And then there was all these people in the news articles saying how that's toxic masculinity, that men need to be protectors and use violence and all these things. And, you know, I don't know how to feel about it. I understand where he's coming from to a certain degree. You know, like Whoopi Goldberg said, everybody makes mistakes. However, under law, it is considered assault to use your hands when someone says words. So it is a crime. It's considered a crime. Like, no matter which way you try to fry it, it's still a crime. But I understand where Will is coming from. And you know who actually agreed with Will? Our friend, well, not our friend, O.J. Simpson. I mean, if O.J. Simpson is agreeing with you, you know you have problems. Like, O.J. Simpson, let's listen to what O.J. Simpson had to say.
The question I've been getting is Will Smith and Chris Rock. Hey, look, it was unfortunate. I think Will was wrong. Look, I understood the feeling. Now, in my life, I've been through a lot of crap when I was raising two young kids, and every comedian in the country had an OJ routine, and don't think I wouldn't want to be slapped a couple of those guys, but you got to accept it's humor.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how to feel about that. O.J. Simpson advocating for violence because he did get away. Well, some people would say he got away with murder as well, murdering his ex-wife, which is pretty Crazy. Jeannie M writes, OJ is a murderer. You know, we're talking about people that are above the law. OJ, I just so happen to be one of them too. So it's crazy. When OJ's agreeing with you, it's not a good look. Will needs help, or there is a murder spaghetti side in his future. Yeah, that's a really good point, Tem Gen Khan. You know, I would be very concerned about Will Smith's help right now. I mean, we just saw a man lose his career pretty much in front of the world. So I can't imagine what he's going through. But I did read an article that Will Smith is getting therapy. D. Boyd writes, Will Smith never talked about alopecia because the slap was about Jada being triggered. She felt people were laughing at her. Very interesting. Danielle Booney writes, bros before HOs. The saying has always been. Edger Rice Burrows writes, Will Smith plays himself in every movie. That is a good point. You know, Will Smith is an excellent actor. But the thing is about that is it's actually harder to play yourself, believe it or not, than like a character. I think so. And he does an excellent job portraying himself. And I understand where that's coming from, because the movies I've seen him in have always been like kind of like this same character. But that's actually pretty hard to do, to play yourself on in movies. Thank you for that. I'm different, writes, I pray this channel hits 1 million subs. I pray my channel hits 1 million subs too, guys. I'm trying to get to 200,000 subs. I'm at 184 now, and all I need is 15,000. So please make sure you subscribe, ring the bell if you want to keep hanging out with lives, and press like on my video. It really helps out my channel a lot. But all this interaction is amazing. Lords Boet writes, nobody talks about what would people say if it was a white man slapping Chris Rock, or white man saying the same joke about a black woman. That is a very interesting point, Lords Boet. You know, what if those roles were reversed, and how different that would be? I feel like, you know, there's sort of a little bit of an acceptable thing going on because they were both the same race. But if it was the opposite way, oh my goodness, especially on a night where it was all black produced. So every person who a part of the production crew were black. Like, I can't imagine that happening. That is a very good point. I think it would have been a lot more problematic, and I think a lot less people would be defending the person who did it. So that is a good point. Mystified writes, I'd be horrified if I thought anyone got slapped or slapped someone because of me. Yeah, exactly. I think Will's anger is from Jada not wanting to be in bed with him. That is a very interesting point, because Jada went on Red Table Talks and talked about how Will Smith can't please her in bed and she needs to go to other men to achieve that. And she says it's because they were married so young. Apparently they got married when they were like 22 or 23. And something weird else about weird about Will Smith, he's a Grammy winning rap artist. And that's something that was way before my time. And I don't remember him being on the radio, but he was like a big rap star. And in the early 90s, I think it was 1993, he was actually put in jail for assaulting his record producer, and he left his record producer almost blind. And there's a mugshot of Will Smith out there in the National Enquirer. So he does have this kind of violent history. All the charges against him were dropped, and he never spent any time in jail. But the pattern was from way back then. And so you kind of see it all escalate to this moment. So very interesting. Thank you for that comment. So I'm different. Yes, a lot of black content creators say the same thing. He would not slap a white man like that or The Rock. Very good point. Maggie Craigie writes, Will probably really wanted to slap his wife. That's hilarious. Someone wrote, I think Will is in a very toxic relationship, and I would think so too. The BLM brigade would be rioting and burning down the city. Interesting. Kelly, Jojo R. Jada already ruined him. Jada is a narc, and unfortunately, Chris was in the crossfire of a very dysfunctional situation. Yeah, Will has snapped. I'm glad I don't live in that house, Lauren writes. And that's the thing, you know, if he does this in public and he has no problem doing this in public, what is he like behind doors? And I think the same thing about Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. You know, you see Kanye West being awful on Instagram to Kim Kardashian. So you can only imagine what that guy is like behind closed doors. And the same can be said about Will Smith. You know, we're only seeing a glimpse of what goes on behind doors. I also want to say this about the Kanye West situation when he stole the moment from Taylor Swift. Everybody branded Kanye West as crazy. And it is kind of interesting that you see this kind of double standard that when Will Smith disrupted the award ceremony, he actually had a lot of supporters and a lot of people in his corner, whereas Kanye didn't. So it is kind of interesting that, you know, people kind of treat this very much differently. I would actually go as far as to argue that the Kanye West fallout from that was actually larger than Will Smith assaulting somebody. So a little thing to think about, like why are there differences there? Very interesting. So, okay, so Jersey F has an idea. You should do a poll on here and ask how many people knew of her condition before the slap. Interesting. I didn't, Chris didn't, no one I know didn't, etc. So that's why he was more shocked. Interesting. Thank you, Jersey F. Enoch Music. I didn't understand Will Smith's speech about saving and protecting others. Yeah, so I think the reason why almost Will Smith was talking about being a method actor. I don't know if you guys know about this way that actors get into character, but Will Smith was pretty much making the argument that he was just like so in character that he ended up going on stage and slapping Chris Rock, which is absolutely crazy because he says King Richard, the dad of Venus and Serena Williams, would have actually done the same thing because he was a protector himself. And so I don't know if he was trying to make the connection with method acting, that he was just so in character that that's what he did. But yeah, King Richard, he said, was a protector, and Will Smith saw himself as protecting Jada in that moment. And he did that through using violence, which shouldn't be the answer, in my opinion. Margaret Burnham. I knew about her hair condition. She had just done an interview about it several days before. So let me ask that. Did you know about Jada's hair condition before the slapping? Because I didn't know anything. I've heard about alopecia, but I didn't know too much about it. I thought I had alopecia. I was like, I'm bald. I have alopecia. But I didn't realize alopecia was actually like a proper disease. So that was just me being ignorant. Yeah, so 76% of you guys said no. And that's very interesting. I didn't know she had it either. And then Chris Rock said on record that he didn't know either. So thank you for that idea, Jersey. Metric, right? Merrick writes, he threw Richard under the bus. Shameful. And I think actually Richard responded to it. Venus's and Serena Williams' dad actually responded to it and said, this isn't what I would do, because I think Will Smith was kind of using that as an excuse. Venus, William, dad. Let me try to find the video. Thank you so much for being here. Please make sure you subscribe, ring the bell so you never miss a live. Do not forget to press like on my video. Really helps out my channel a lot. So I can't find the video, but I think Richard William dad Will. I remember seeing that he responded. Richard. So. Yeah, so this is from 3 days ago.
The question I've been getting is Will Smith from Chris Rock.
So Richard Williams responds to Will Smith slapping Chris Rock at the answers. Hopefully, for the sake of the family who've collectively been through lifetimes of answering to things they do not want have to answer to, this is the last time they have to comment on the slap. So, interesting. The article doesn't even say who. Richard Williams, who Will Smith just won his Oscar for portraying in the biographical sports drama King Richard, has now responded to Smith hitting comedian Chris Rock during the event. What did he say? Speaking with NBC News, William issued a short statement via his son and spokesperson, Shaivoita Lassane, in which he said that he did not condone Smith's actions. We don't know all the details of what happened, but we don't condone anyone hitting anyone else unless it's self-defense. So that was his response. So Will Smith said the reason why he hit Chris Rock is because he was playing King Richard, and then Richard himself responds and says, I don't condone violence. So that is kind of interesting. Thank you, Halo Merrick, for reminding me about that statement Richard Williams himself has said. Jersey F writes, the fact Will took that violence and used their family's story to justify almost this situation is another form of sickness in and of itself. He used that story, speech, and situation to gain the poor me act. Yeah. Rachel Wyatt. Thank you, Jersey, for all of your comments. Rachel Wyatt, I literally thought that was a compliment calling her G.I. Jane. Like, literally, she has issues. She just said on her Instagram days before that she doesn't even care what people think about her bald head. Exactly. Like, if anybody, like, it's nice hearing a woman say that, because when I get compared to bald guys, like, sometimes people roast me in the comments, like, you look like Johnny Sins. I'm like, that's funny. I don't really care. Like, you know, so, but I can understand how maybe women would feel differently, but it's nice to see that you feel that way. And Alt writes, G.I. Jane hairstylist has also commented and wondered why it was an insult when that hairstyle was really, really cool. That's interesting. I'm going to look into the G.I. Jane hairstylist response. Very interesting. So G.I. Jane hairstylist says he doesn't understand why Jada Pinkett Smith rolled her eyes at Chris Rock's Oscar joke. The hairstylist behind G.I. Jane said he didn't understand Jada Pinkett Smith's reaction to Chris Rock's joke about her shaved head this week at the Academy Awards, Page 6 reported. Speaking with Page 6 Nikki Gostin, Enzo Angiarelli, who styled Demi Moore's buzz cut in the 1997 action movie G.I. Jane, said he didn't know that Pinkett Smith had alopecia, an autoimmune condition that causes the immune system to attack hair follicles. Angiarelli told Page 6 that even once he learned the background, it still didn't make sense to him that Pinkett Smith rolled her eyes at Rock's joke. Quote, I thought she looked amazing, so regal, the hairstylist said of Pinkett Smith's look on the night. I thought it was a beauty choice, he told Page 6. Yeah, and so did I. I thought it was a beauty choice as well. I've never seen her look more beautiful, he added, saying he thought Rock's joke was cute and benevolent. Pinkett Smith had previously opened up about the impact alopecia has had on her. During a May 2018 episode of her Facebook Watch series, Red Table Talk, she told her mother, Adrienne Banfield Norris, and her daughter Willow Smith, it was terrifying when it first started. Yeah, so it did actually affect her quite dramatically. So the hairstylist is like, I don't understand why she was upset. Because she looks beautiful. And that's what I keep saying here on my channel as well. I think she looks absolutely amazing. And I thought it was a choice because she looks so good. So I thought that was a good eye opener. Thank you for that comment. Thank you. Jersey writes, thank you. Right? I didn't know. Chris didn't know. 76% of us didn't know. Yet the Smith assume everyone knew her situation. To me, sounds like a Jada and Will Smith ego issue going on. Aldel L. Yes, Joseph, that's the hairstylist article. Cherry Lane, condoning violence / aggression at an award ceremony is just wrong during the comic time. And that's really what bothered me about this entire thing was the roast portion of the Oscars is infamous for making fun of celebrities and being really controversial. I mean, the Ricky Gervais roast was way worse than this one. So the fact that Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith were right front row center in the spotlight of the roast, you knew that they were going to get roasted. So they should have known that what was coming. And the weird thing about all this is, you know, they knew they were supposed to get roasted, and comedy is meant to be there for laughing about things you would otherwise not laugh about. Like anything is funny. That's called comedy. It's a healing process. And, you know, you're supposed to kind of laugh at it. You're supposed to have that kind of idea that, you know, nothing is really off limits. Everything is kind of funny, especially being as a public figure as Will Smith is. He's probably so used to getting hate as well. I mean, I get a lot of hate on my YouTube, and I'm just kind of like, I actually find it kind of funny. And I think it's like actually kind of hilarious sometimes because I'm like, you have a point, you know, and it's all about you. That's what you sign up for by being a part of this. So, you know, for him to basically go against what comedy is all about by getting offended over something that, you know, he shouldn't be getting offended over and kind of laughing it off is the whole point of comedy. And it kind of goes against comedy. So I don't know. That kind of really bothered me about the roast, to be honest, what went down. Really mind blowing. Sandra James, did anyone else think Will was kind of smirking afterwards and while he was yelling? So that's a really good point. I can't show the video because every time I show the video, YouTube actually strikes my channel. And so, but yeah, there's pictures of him actually floating around that right after he hit Chris Rock, he was smiling. I wonder if I can find it. I wonder if I can find that photo slap because, you know, we saw when he was hitting Chris Rock, he kind of did this thing where he leaned in and Chris Rock was leaning in almost as if he knew what was going to happen. So it is kind of weird that immediately after he had this smile. So Will Smith smiling. It's kind of a conspiracy that maybe it was all staged because immediately after he had a little smirk on his face, which was kind of weird, to be honest with you, that he just assaulted somebody and he was smiling. So let me just try to give it a little pause here and try to find if I can find that photo. Thank you so much for being here. Please make sure you subscribe, ring the bell so you never miss a live. And do not forget to press like on my video. Let me try to find it. Oh yes, here we go. So people basically said this was fake. So that's him going up. And then immediately after, he has this expression like he's smiling. Like there's a little bit of a smirk going on. So people thought this could point towards it being fake. And yeah, this is the one I think of a lot. It's this photo right here. He just looks like he's very pleased about what he did. He just smacked somebody and he looks giddy. Thank you for that comment, Sandra James. Kelly Knowles writes, they are toxic people living a false toxic life. Will has jumped before he's been pushed by resigning from the Academy. Again, taking control of a situation. Hand back the Oscar. You're not worthy. That's a really interesting point. Thank you for that. Wow, I have 1,700 likes. That is absolutely crazy. Really appreciate everybody joining me. Absolutely so much fun to hang out. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, I don't really think anybody has gotten their Oscar taken away from them before. Harvey Weinstein still has his Oscars. Roman Polanski still has his Oscars. It's hard to take something away from somebody, but I know getting removed from the Academy is a good way for them to get people reprimanded. And yeah, that's a really good point. Will Smith should get back his Oscar next. 100%. That's a really good point. I mean, that would have been a lot more dramatic for sure. I saw someone ask me for a question. Someone wrote, can't wait for the Oscars. Joseph, can you imagine South Park tackling on this issue? I think the creators are going to hit the jackpot going after the Smiths in the new season. That's hilarious. You know, I love South Park. I'm actually Canadian. So South Park is created by a bunch of Canadians. So I love South Park. That's hilarious. And I saw someone make another joke about how there is possibly a SNL spoof, which would be hilarious as well. And actually, James Corden did a brilliant job with a particular YouTube video. I don't think I can play it because I would probably get struck down, but it's him saying, don't talk about Jada. Don't talk about Jada. And it's hilarious because it's like now everybody doesn't want to talk about Jada Pinkett Smith because they're afraid they're going to get a hit. Ricky Gervais, again, is just such a legend. He goes, I wouldn't have made fun of Jada Pinkett for being bald. I would have made fun of Jada for dating other people. So can you imagine if Ricky Gervais told that joke about Jada being in an open relationship? Oh man, I wonder how Will Smith would have reacted with that one. Amanda Johnson writes, satisfaction smirk, like, yeah, I stood up for my wife. That's a good point. It could have been like really giddy about it. Tinner writes, the only Oscar Will Smith deserves is an Oscar Mayer wiener. I don't know if I've been YouTubing too long, but that is absolutely hilarious. Wow, thank you so much, Mama Lisa. You are amazing. You are amazing. I'm not expecting that. Thank you so much. It just looks like a bigger man bullying a smaller man over a harmless joke. Black warrior spirit writes. Exactly. It just kind of felt like, yeah, you bring up a really good point because I didn't realize Will Smith is a lot larger than Chris Rock. So that is an excellent point. Thank you for that. It is kind of punching down in a way, and I kind of see it as bullying. Kay Freeman, will the Academy still ban Will Smith with other consequences? Yeah, so Will Smith has officially resigned from the Academy. That's done. And he's officially out, joining the ranks of Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby because they're out of the Academy as well, Roman Polanski. And they're still going to hand out consequences to Will Smith. So they're still deciding the consequences for Will Smith, which I don't know what else they could do. Could they take away his statue? Could they make him return it? Hand it over, give the best actor to somebody else? I don't know, but it is kind of still in the process that they're still going to punish him as well. The meetings are still being continued. He's still going to have to write a letter to them within 15 days, and there's going to be a decision on April 18th. So that is the day. So mark your calendars. I'm going to be here on YouTube. I saw one from a supporter. Hi, Maria D. Will has $500 million. He can exit stage left. Exactly. That's crazy. I didn't realize Will Smith had $500 million. You know, if I were Chris Rock, and Jim Carrey said this too, I would sue Will Smith, and because that would be the easiest payday ever. Gabby is just hanging out. Addie Pickle writes, Hollywood still adores the domestic violent abuser Amber Heard. Yeah, I got to do an Amber Heard video because her court case is coming up. Who messes in ex-wife's bed and her ex loses movie roles? So I guess Will Smith will get lots of film offers. Interesting. I didn't know that about Amber Heard. Thank you for that. For Gabby from Wally Woodle. You know, I'm going to give Gabby a treat because she is being so good. Thank you so much, Wally Woodle. And this is on behalf of you, Mama Lisa. Here's a treat, Gabby. So I don't know if you know this about my dog, but my dog is currently in heat. So she's a bit run down right now. I don't know if I should be telling thousands of people that, but yeah, that's what's going on with her. Miss Patricia writes, what do you think of the hypocrisy of winning an Oscar knowing that you propagandized against the Oscars for being so white? Yeah, so there's actually this joke done by Chris Rock where he talks about how Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith actually protested against the Oscars because they weren't nominated for an award. Will Smith wasn't nominated for an award. And then Chris Rock made this joke that like, you saying you don't want to go to the Oscars is like me saying I don't want to date Beyonce. Like you weren't invited in the first place was his joke. And that was what really a lot of people drew parallels to when Will Smith was like, keep my name out of your mouth, because Chris Rock is known to joke about these situations. And it is kind of weird that the first time they go back to the Oscars, Will and Jada Pinkett Smith are creating this huge scene and basically subverting the Oscars and ruining it. So it is kind of, you know, getting back into conspiracies there. That is an interesting point. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you again, Mama Lisa, for that super chat. Mama Lisa again. Golden Owl, thank you so much for all your support. That is amazing. Kathy Gray writes, bully is right. Rock really missed a trick not saying something about an entanglement after Will smacked him. Yeah, that is funny. I liked Chris Rock's joke where it was like, wow, that was the greatest moment in television history, because it really was. So, and that's the thing I wanted to say about Chris Rock too. And Will Packer actually said this as well. The G.I. Jane joke was completely off the cuff, unscripted, him just riffing on live television, and it was not planned. So he did not plan that joke to happen. And, you know, it really, really backfired for him. And I think in a way, the Academy was actually trying to cover their own butts by saying that, because they probably would have not approved it if they had known that that was in the script. And it is kind of like, maybe they were saying that to be like, we didn't know, you know. I wonder if it was even in the script or not. Kelly writes something about Ricky G. I saw Ricky G never got slapped when he ripped on the whole crowd. They all sat there like puppies. Chris needs to take action, as his joke was lame and all in fun. Yeah, I wish I could play the Ricky Gervais roast, because that one was like 10 times worse than this one by all the stretch of the imagination. It was so much worse. Thanks for all your great coverage. I started watching when you covered the Gabby Petito case. Miss Gabby co-host Amanda Johnson. Wow. Taking a walk down memory lane. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I actually adopted my dog Gabby during the Gabby Petito case. And she's actually from a puppy kennel. I don't know if I should be telling people that, but she had a bunch of litters, and we adopted her from there. and she's about 3 years old. And I adopted her during the Gabby case. And her original name was Xena, but I recently started calling her Gabby. Just, I don't know why. And it just kind of stuck. And because I prefer Gabby over Xena any day of the week. And Gabby, she likes the name. That's all that matters. And yeah, so thank you so much, Gabby. The Gabby Petito case is really what made my channel what it is and gave me all the subscribers. So I really appreciate that. Thank you. Walk down memory lane. That was only like under a year ago too. Isn't that crazy? It feels like it was so long ago. Mellow Brother writes, it was actually Rihanna who he made a joke about not getting in the panties because he was never invited. Oh, was it Rihanna? Oh, okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for the correction. I'm going to start saying that. Alt del Alt. I feel so bad for Chris Rock. It could be seen he was really lost there. He went back to child days, feeling so small and sad. Safi. Okay, so we're going to not spade Gabby because here's the thing. I have a cat. And the moment I actually got my cat fixed, it lost all of its personality. So I like how Gabby is a bit moody when she's on her, like when she's in heat. And also we're getting Gabby a boyfriend, but I'm not gonna let them have puppies, but we're getting her a boyfriend soon. So I can't wait for everybody to meet him. His name is Cardi. So he's really wild and energetic and excited. So yeah, I don't know if he can just sit here all through my live streams. Joseph Morris, remember everything is written and put up on prompters. So was this Crit Joe or Oscar writers? Wonder if why Chris hasn't responded yet. Higher Ways Women Rights. And that's a really excellent point because I don't know if I really believe the Oscars when they say that this was a unscripted joke because we've seen the Oscars pretty much lie through their teeth so much. I mean, the Academy said that they actually went up to Will Smith to remove him when in reality that wasn't the case. Will Smith actually responded and said, you guys asked me to stay. So, and actually Will Packer, the producer, said that Chris Rock wanted Will Smith to stay. And then Chris Rock responds, no, I didn't. So the Academy is just kind of putting out fires as they come and trying to make themselves look like they're completely innocent in all this, including with the off the cuff joke. And I'm just not buying it. So thank you for that. Really gives a lot of food for thought. Donnery Weeks writes, she is beautiful. I'd rather hear about Gabby than I would Will. So yeah, Gabby and we go for a lot of walks and we just hang out. But she's kind of more of a lazy dog, which I actually like. She doesn't really like to walk. She likes to graze in the grass. She's kind of like a cow that way. Edith Long writes, well, you hurt people with consequences. Well, you hurt people with consequences. Let me try to find that. It went away. Oh, man. Joseph Morris, what do you think about the conspiracy theory that Jada is a secret T-word? Many people think Jada and the daughter Willow are biological males due to male features. I have never heard that conspiracy. That is an interesting conspiracy. Wow. I haven't heard that one. Thank you for that, Jamie. Addie Pickle writes, I missed my last dog. He was my shadow. Yeah, I love my dog, honestly. Right now, she has a very big coat. And corgis, they shed twice a year. So she's going to shed anytime soon. But in the meantime, her coat is so long, and I absolutely love it. Will Smith needs to make a donation to charity. Violence against people. Exactly. Speaking of the Gabby case, you know, the Gabby Petito Foundation was dedicated towards people who suffer from, women who suffer from domestic violence. So, you know, it'd be very nice of Will Smith to do that for charity. That's a very good point. Swan Noir writes, they probably told him he could stay. Maybe. Mango256, what happened with Tommy Davidson and him keep bringing it up? I have never heard of that. Tommy Davidson. Will and Chris gave meaning to the Oscars. Addy Pickle. Oh my God. Chat taking a left turn right now. LN. Yes, it's traumatizing being attacked without warning. Christopher writes, William, give me some of that fluff. Yeah, that's the thing about my dog. The fluff gets kind of everywhere. And every time I go on live stream, sometimes I watch myself back and I'm like, ooh, you can see all my dog hair, but that's what you get for owning a pet. Do you cycle? Get a doggy carrier for the bike and take her out on bike rides so she doesn't like to walk. That's a really good point. I should take her on a bike ride. Look, she knows she's hungry. Your dog is the cutest ever. She is precious. Love her. Yeah, she's a very sweet kind of dog. She really likes women. She doesn't like other men, which is absolutely funny. So I take her on a lot of walks through town. She's great with other people. But when it comes to like other men, she gets really not that friendly. Walking with Heather writes, yes, he should give a donation to the women's shelter who have been abused by a narcissist. That would be great. Exactly. So with Jada Pinkett Smith, it does kind of seem like she is a narcissist in a way. You know, I saw people in the chat saying that. And I know narcissistic abuse is something that a lot of people suffer from. And, you know, being a narcissist is kind of like, I spoke to my therapist about this. And she says narcissists are actually people who say really mean things, but don't realize what they're saying is mean. So like, yeah, a part of narcissism is like being self-absorbed, or, you know, that old picture of the narcissist where he's staring into the water and he's obsessed with his reflection. But she actually explained to me that narcissism is actually like a lot more than just loving yourself. It actually has to do with like really mean and unkind behavior. And I thought that was kind of interesting. That was from a professional. So Miss M Brim 9763 writes, Howard Stern would have done the same thing that Will Smith did had someone just walked over and kissed him in his mouth. Howard Stern would have slapped that reporter as well. So I'm actually a really big fan of Howard Stern. I know he's like somebody that kind of has his whole career off of being hated. But what he had to say about the Oscars, and he was one of the first people to say it too, it was about security and where was security that night, because how was Will Smith just allowed to walk on stage is beyond me. So Joseph, she's watching over her daddy, Mama Lisa. Thank you, Mama Lisa. Carrie Hawkins, Joseph, just watch Gabby with cancer with the hormones. If you're not breeding, it's better for her to be spayed. She will keep her personality as she had litters previously. That's a good point, because I hear when women dogs are spayed, they're less likely to get ovarian cancer. That's what someone told me, but yeah. Vince Raphael writes, miss my dog and walking him every day, but seeing your dog makes my day. It reminds me of those days. Aw. Yeah, you know, this is my first actual dog I've ever got in my life. And I remember when I first got my first cat, I was obsessed with that cat. And that cat, when he passed away, it was the most devastating moment of my life. Well, not one up there, actually up there with one of the most devastating moments of my life. And I will never forget that cat. And that's the thing about my dog, is I feel like it's sort of like my cat, the original cat I had. And I've had two other cats right now. They live in a different apartment because they're not allowed in the common areas because they shed a lot. But the cats, you know, no one has been able to replace that first cat. But in some ways, Gabby has been able to. So I think it's because Gabby is such a loving and kind energy that she kind of reminds me of my first cat, you know, because she just wants love. She just wants attention. So yeah, reminds me of my first cat. So my friend's cat died after 18 years, Jero writes. Spring writes, I'm a woman who lost my hair many times due to cancer treatment, and I also thought the joke was empowering, like you're beautiful, badass woman who could play the role of G.I. Jane. Wow. Spring, I'm gonna screenshot that, Spring, because that is a beautiful comment. Because it is hard for me to understand like where Jada's coming from, because, you know, I don't know how it feels to be a woman that's bald, but like you kind of gave some insight into that it was actually an empowering thing. So that's very interesting. Thank you for that comment. If I were Chris, I wouldn't go back to the Oscars just because of the way they treated him throughout it. He apologized for being insulted. Crazy, Amber Anderson writes. Yeah, there's people that definitely have like different viewpoints, you know? Frosco Training writes, here's a thought. Just imagine if it was a white celebrity who did that to Chris Rock. There would be another riot. LOL. Exactly. Someone wrote, narcissists are primarily male and is a condition that stems from a doting mother to son. Interesting. Now you guys are making me want to like read about narcissism. Ali Pickle writes, I had a very special cat. She rode better in the car than any dog I ever had. She was the coolest cat ever. Aww. Let me know if you want to do another case. I can help you on that one and get you the PIs, family people on the case since it happened, and more. Yeah, I'm going to put my email in the chat. If you guys ever want to send me a case, I will be more than happy to cover it. You guys are the ones that actually turned me on to Summer Wells' case. And every day I look at it for Summer Wells' update because of that. Thank you, Jersey F. I know I said wow to myself exactly when you said well. Joseph, is yours mixed with Border Collie, Frank Mills asked? It's she's a Pembroke Welsh Corgi. So I think she's just pure. At least that's what the guy told us. You never know. Tommy Davidson is also an actor, and he revealed a very huge piece in this puzzle in his interview. I'll look into that. Carrie Hawkins. Oh man, these chats are just coming and going. Joseph, just watch Gabby with cancer. Okay, Carrie Hawkins. Also, Chris Rock has suffered bullying as a child, and if you look, he just froze. He's also spoken about, apart from his comedy, he suffers from low self-esteem, and it's so sad. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about me going to therapy for a moment there. Since I told you guys I go to therapy. Anyway, my therapist tells me there's ways you can react to things, and one of them is you just freeze. And I'm a big freezer. When things happen to me, I just kind of like freeze, and I'm kind of like, what's going on, you know? And the thing about Chris Rock is I saw myself a lot in Chris Rock when he reacted the way he did. He just kind of like froze. And I don't know if you guys do this, but when someone actually says something really rude to you, later on, you're like, man, I wish I just spoke my mind and I said that. And sometimes you think of the greatest comeback like 10 minutes later. That's totally me, because it's like in that moment, I'm just like, what? Like, I don't know how to react. Like, that's just how I react. So I saw myself a lot in Chris Rock when that happened. Seems Chris Rock was leaning forward thinking Will Smith was going to talk to him, but got slapped instead. That's a really good point. And I do actually have this comedian who said something very, very similar to that. And he was talking about how it looked like Will Smith was actually just coming on stage to make a joke. And that's what it looked like. So let me just play this clip, and I'm going to be reading your chats.
What Will Smith did, do you feel like was an attack on all comedians and maybe setting a precedent for what you can do, or jokes being not accepted in the right way?
Tuck, let me tell you this, man.
All right.
The idea that you're entitled to things because your feelings are hurt, you get to assault one of the all-time greats because you feel, and then the cowards, the spineless cowards that are in Hollywood, in comedy. We have a list going of these. Anybody who did not stand up and say some shit for Chris Rock, we're going to ruin your life. I just want you to know that.
How come? Do you feel like that was an attack on all of comedy there?
It's what it is it's a display of entitlement. It's a very powerful, very wealthy, influential star who just decided, yeah, I didn't like that. I'm going to smack you. And then gets to sit down, collect his award, get a round of applause, enjoy his night. It's insane. It's like a gross exaggeration of, you see it all the time. I mean, you see entitlement everywhere. And that was on full display for the world to see. I have zero respect for that. And I feel like more people need to come out and say it. It's unacceptable.
Tom, what do you think Chris Rock was going to say? He held himself back. I feel like he was very composed. It looked like he was
stunned. He was stunned. He was stunned. He's a professional. He was stunned. He actually, you could tell when Will walks up that he's like, oh, this is going to be a funny bit. You're going to do something hilarious right now. And he gets smacked and he just doesn't even know what to do.
Imagine if he walks up to him, puts his arm around him, and like they start like doing like something like that could have happened there, right? I mean, there could have been a funny bit that could have continued in that whole thing.
Clearly, that's what he thinks is going to happen. He clearly thinks that's going to happen, and it's amazing that he could even recover and move on. I mean, it's look, dude, it's wild that guy is getting away with that, and I just, it's just entitlement. I mean, it reminds me, I used to live in LA, and you'd be like on Beverly or Rodeo, and you see these people in like Bentleys double park or be like in a handicap zone, and then a parking enforcement person would be like, hey, you can't park here. And then the person in the Bentley goes, yeah, there's no spaces. And you're like, yeah, space, that's what happens. Like, go find a place to park. And sometimes the person would get intimidated and be like, okay. And then sometimes they'd be like, I don't give a f***, here's your ticket. And that's what Will Smith needs. He needs a big old parking ticket. Okay?
Hell yeah.
Tom, what are you doing in New York? You doing shows? And is every comedian going to have a take on the Chris Rock, Will Smith in their bit?
Well, probably. I mean, I'll just let you know, if you come on my stage, I'm not saying, we know I can't jump. I'm not saying I can fight, but I'll bite your face off. I will disembowel you in front of your family if you come on my stage. So,
that's awesome.
I would tell you to get tickets, but all my shit sold out. I make fucking
hey, even the Spanish.
I make post-immunized Aaron Rodgers money. So you can't.
Yeah, so that comedian agreed, everybody just thought it was going to be a funny moment. It was going to be hilarious. And, it just ended up not being hilarious. And it just ended up being really cringeworthy and very shocking. I think everybody was shocking. And I don't know about you, but in shocking moments that are awkward, I tend to laugh. So I understand why some people were laughing. I didn't understand why Jada was laughing. But it's just crazy that wouldn't happen. And something that's kind of realizing is now comedy clubs have to amp up their security, because now when comedians take the stage and they start roasting people in the audience, now the venue people have to worry about the audience members coming on stage and punching them, because now Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. Like, now it sets the precedence that comedians don't have the ability to feel safe on stage anymore because of this scenario. And a lot of comedians are actually very upset about that. I know I would be, you're basically fearing for your safety now when you do your job. Like, I can't imagine that being in the back of my mind as I'm trying to do a gig. Like, I'm in YouTube alone in my studio, with my dog. Like, my dog's not going to bite me if I tell a bad joke. Like, if that was the case, I definitely would have a lot of terrible stress going on. And Wanda Sykes spoke up about it. We had Amy Schumer spoke up about it. And we had various comedians basically condemn him, Jim Carrey as well, because it is such a huge negative thing for that profession. So The reason why the Academy leaders didn't remove Smith was, according to Daily Mail, that they feared it would be twisted into racism. A black actor getting an Oscar and being stopped receiving it. Alt writes, that's very interesting. Thank you for that. Stefan Ullery writes, this is a very bizarre situation and laughing can be therapeutic. Exactly. I mean, that's how I deal with situations as well. I tend to laugh about things. Sorry, look, my opinion, I can never be that down bad, like Will Smith bad. But sorry, Chris Work got what he deserved. Yes, as a professional. He should have held that in. As a man, Alex writes. Torres writes, Jada, it's very controlling and abusive to her family. Interesting. I would like to know more information about how Jada is, to be honest with you. Rennie Mohammed writes, Jada and Will was making believe to themselves that everything was okay. J.L. Kellen, the safety violation is really sad. Johnny writes, he might bite you. You never know. I never know. In fact, when I go close to my dog, she tends to bite my armchair rest. Look, she's in heat, so she's really cranky. Anyway, Sevi Regis writes, if Will would have walked up on stage and tickled Chris, calling him a baby boy and telling him in a funny way to leave his beautiful wife alone, it would have been very effective and hilarious. Yeah, I feel like it was such a missed opportunity because there's this video about Will Smith actually being possibly kissed by Jim Carrey, and Will Smith handled it pretty well, actually. Let me try to find that video.
The award for the best kiss goes to Will Smith and Vivica A. Fox for Independence Day.
Yeah, so it's like, why did he handle it so well there with Jim Carrey, but not with Chris Rock, you know? Will Smith is just able to laugh things off. I think his wife Jada is the common denominator. Future writes, all planned hoax death of Will Smith or Jaden, implied career or literal. It's in many, many films. Swan Warren writes, that would be fascinating. Amy Schumer said she was taking a month off to recover. Interesting. So last post I read by Amy Schumer, she was talking about how she was traumatized, and that post was actually edited to out. And so I didn't know she was taking a month off. That's very, very sad. The way that Amy Schumer reacted was absolutely pure comedy gold. She goes, did I miss something? After she came out, after the slap, did I miss something? There's a different vibe in here. After like the most like ridiculous moment in career Oscar history happened. Absolutely hilarious. Leslie Renee writes, I watched a video. Will demanded Jada never talk down to him or he would leave her. They say went for years, never raising voice, they said. She is now talking down to him. Maybe he is losing it. Interesting. Oh yeah, Jim Carrey and his ways, forced to kiss 19-year-old Silverstone and trying to kiss Smith too. And now he is being like the moral, ethical king. So let's watch.
The award for the best kiss goes to
that video about Alicia Silverstone. I think thank you for that.
You're gonna get me.
So I have to mute it because there's copyrighted music in here. But you can see Jim Carrey come on stage. That's Alicia Silverstone. I believe she was 20 at the time. He wins an award. And Jim Carrey went on record condemning Will Smith. And I don't agree with this at all. That's Jim Carrey kissing Alicia Silverstone. And then people were calling Jim Carrey out for being a hypocrite, but I don't agree with people calling him out for being a hypocrite. I just want to say that. I think kissing somebody is much different than what Will Smith did. And I think, you know, that it just doesn't compare, in my opinion. But people were calling him out for that. Rose Osley writes, where did God go? On other videos online, they're saying white people did this. And she is right. That's what they are doing now. White. Not what did Will just do. Interesting, Rose. CO writes, Luanel and Michael Blackman came to Chris Rock's defense and even said Jada instigated the situation. I can't believe the way they partying like nothing took place. Yeah, and that's the thing about this entire scenario. I thought it was fake, given the fact that afterwards they were partying, and then Will Smith actually made an Instagram update afterwards saying, quote, you can't take people from Philly or Baltimore anywhere, end quote, because Will Smith is from Philadelphia, Jada is from Baltimore, and he was making this joke like they can't act well in public. They always act up and get rowdy and create chaos. But, you know, that's the reason why I thought it was fake, because Will Smith just assaulted somebody on live television, and for you to be partying and making jokes about it afterwards really made me feel like this can't be real. Like, this cannot be real. Look at you. She's so cute. Chris Rock never joked about Jada's alopecia. He joked about Jada looking like the badass G.I. Jane. Does G.I. Jane also have alopecia? I don't think she does. I think it was style. All right, guys. Please make sure you subscribe, ring the bell so you never miss a live. I'm going to have to take my doggy out for a walk. So it's been so nice hanging out with you guys. I was only going to plan to do 10 minutes worth of video. It's now been 2.5 hours. And I think it's time for both of us to stretch our legs. So it's been real. It's been so much fun hanging out with you guys, reading all your chats. And I look forward to reading them in the future. So if this true crime case discussion is for you, please make sure you subscribe, ring the bell so you never miss a live. Do not forget to press like on my video. And until next time, guys, stay safe, make good decisions, and I will see you in the next video. Oh, I want to give Gabby a treat. One sec. Yeah, she know what time it is. There you go, Gabby. All right, guys, stay safe, make good decisions, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, D Professor. Bye, Jeannie M. Bye, Hector Garcia. Bye, Pure Imagination and Safi. CO. Good night. See you, Savvy Reggies. Higher Ways Women. Jeannie M. Amber Anderson. Comment News. Jeannie M. again. We got so many people in the chat. Leslie Antoine, Night, Addie Pickle, Mystified, Leslie Renee, L. Wilson, Dragonfly, Joanne Murdoch. You guys have an awesome night, and I love you guys all, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Let's go, Gabby. Off to bed. Going for a walk. All right. Bye.